All right. What is going on? Jimmy Crack Corn, what's up? Been waiting. Yeah, we usually get started around some point this time. Depends if I was fishing or not, but nowadays everything gets dark so quick, so I actually did go fishing earlier today. We'll get this all set up here in a sec. What's good? Hope everyone's doing well. All right. Let's get the music just a little bit. Yo, what's going on, Doc? How's it going, man? Hope you're doing well. Let's do this before I forget. And that way, early in the stream, people will see. Let me... Oh, I probably have to do this real quick. Hold on. You're going to hear noise real quick. Maybe not. Come on. Okay. Give me one sec. Okay. We're good. Did you catch anything? I just thought I missed the show. I wasn't sure if you did one today. I usually thought you start earlier, but yeah. We used to do them at 7:30, but now I try not to stream too late. Yeah, anywhere from like 6:30 generally. It could be earlier, depends. But no, I didn't catch anything, unfortunately. I haven't caught a single straight bass since September. I filmed so much. You should see I have so much footage of me going fishing the surf. I got some like B-roll footage today. It's been so beautiful. The beaches have been like perfect. There's big deep trenches everywhere, like right next to the beach. I've been catching shad, but no striped bass. I don't know what's going on. Some guys have been catching some with spinning rods, but I talked to a couple surf guys today, gave them some teasers and stuff, and it's been pretty sparse pickings, unfortunately. So when it's like that with the fly rod, it's really tough. So I'm gonna keep fishing till December, but I mean I've not caught a single striped bass since September. But what's going on, Jin? Doc, hope everyone's doing well. All right, this is the we're picking our YouTube giveaway winner from earlier this month, which is supposedly the video for October, but it came out earlier this month. But so let's see. I don't think we want replies. I think we just want comments. So I think that should be right. Let's see. Oh, hey, and Paul Bridger. Paul Bridger's a early supporter and viewer here on YouTube. Great videos. Good looking fly. Thanks for sharing your skill and knowledge with us. Very well explained and on how to tie. Looking forward to your next video. Thanks again. Oh, hey, congrats, Paul. I'm sure he'll probably see this, but I do need a shipping address. So either via Instagram at LIFliesMike, via our Discord, which is a link above in the YouTube chat or YouTube description, or email me at lifliesmike@gmail.com. Congrats, Paul. I'll make sure to write that down. Okay. Sharakan? How do I pronounce your name? What's going on? How's it going, dude? Paul Bridgers. October YouTube. And I got to ship out October's Twitch stuff as well. Did you post photos of the new spinner bits? Of done tying? You talking about from Discord? What do you mean? Shara Khan. Is that how do I pronounce Shara in the front? Shira? Shira Khan? I like it. Like the tiger. Where was that? Are you talking about something from last week or what? No, that was somebody else. What do you mean, Jimmy? No. Did you post them in the Discord? No, I didn't. Ah, yes, the Jungle Book. I was wondering. I was like, where is that from? All right. If you post them in the Fly Time section of the Discord, we'll take a look. Yeah, we'll take a look near the end of the stream. Okay. So today, really, we don't have anything on the menu. We're just going to be tying whatever we feel like. I've been doing a lot of... I'm kind of feeling like I'm pretty much just surf fishing. So I kind of want to tie some flies for myself. And we're probably just going to tie like 5 to 6 inch searching flies for the surf. I've been fishing snake flies like crazy. That's usually my go-to. But I wouldn't mind tying... maybe we could do something snake fly related with some sort of deer hair spinning. But kind of like peanut bunker style stuff. Maybe we'll tie a sand eel fly or two as well. But we'll tie some more flies to keep me motivated to keep fishing, even though I haven't been catching anything. So. Oh, okay. Is that you? Okay, gotcha. Oh, I see now. The photo's the same. Yo, Lobitz Lures. How's it going? How you doing? I think we'll start off with maybe something more peanut bunker related. Because I have some slinky fiber here. So we'll kind of do like a hybrid-esque sort of fly with some bucktail and some synthetics and some feathers and stuff, and just kind of tie like a medium profiled bait fish. That's easy to throw. I mean, I was throwing a big fly today. I was throwing like a 9 to 10 inch bunker fly because I was using my switch rod in the surf. But if you're fishing just like a normal 9-weight single hand rod, it can get a little tiring over time unless you got the right line set up and everything. So I do need to figure out what's going to be the next tying tutorials, which I'm probably going to try and film at some point tomorrow or tonight. We'll see. And then most likely Sunday it's going to come out. So I really like that mackerel style fly. So we'll probably tie like a very sort of similar style fly right now. But I want to get the proportions right and stuff. Kind of like a hybrid bunker fly, I guess you could call it, between synthetic and naturals. But I also need to figure out like I also got to figure out some other patterns. So somebody requested a while back the school bus bomber colored what do you call it, squimpish fly, where it's yellow, white with the grizzly hackle, kind of like the school bus looking color, and it's based off of the old bomber lures. So that's one particular fly that I think I want to do. We also have the electric chicken someone talked about, and I kind of want to try one. Maybe we'll tie one today. Try and wrap our head around it, because Henry Cowan was in here not too long ago when we were talking about it. Hey, yo, what's up, Zeke? How's it going? Zeke was out fishing today, too. So we got the Squimpish school bus, the electric chicken, the hybrid bunker, which we're going to do right now. And I kind of want to do a grocery fly at some point. As much as I want to, I've just been fishing the surf. I think if I actually really want to catch a fish, I should probably fish the bay. We used to have shad come in, and we have shad right now, but they come in till like December, and you can catch shad on the fly, which is kind of fun. You know, I was doing it in the surf the other day. I got some on camera, but I want to throw shad-sized flies and catch bass that eat those sort of bait. But back in the day, we used to go to the bridge there's a light line and there's pylons we've talked about in the past, but the shad would be feeding on really small bait, and every once in a while you would see a massive explosion or boil. And that was a giant striped bass, and this was in December, like December, 12th to like the 20th or something, and you would see or it could have been herring as well for all we know, but I think it was mostly shad, and the bass would eat the shad. So like there are places in the bay that even this time of year we can fish giant flies, but I don't even know if there's really stuff like that going on. I haven't been catching any fish in the surf though, so I might need to just start fishing the bays and stuff. Do you want to the electric chicken is like I believe it's a Glenn Mickelson fly too, if I'm not wrong. Maybe it's not. It could be someone else, but I think it's Glenn Mickelson. It's basically like a yellowish, very sort of similar color to the school bus colors, but like a deceiver with angel hair and stuff mixed in. I don't remember exactly how it was tied. Let's go out on the rock jetties. If you go out there, if you got one out there, go all the way out there. What? The way you wrote that sentence. Yeah, I focus on the beaches. There is a couple jetties over here you can fish, and I used to primarily do that when I was younger. It was like just fish the jetties and the beach adjacent to it. But this time of year, really, like, you should be patrolling the beaches up and down, looking for new structure every day. And I mean, I was there. It was tons of bait and everything, but there's not a lot of striped bass. Now, I've been keeping an eye out. I take a look at the jetty beforehand. There's not a lot of people over there. Usually you see, you can tell by who's fishing and whatnot if there's something serious going on. So I do want to use some hackle. I think we're going to break out some flatwing style hackle, but first we'll use some Chinese saddle hackle to kind of build up our profile, if you will. Oh yeah, believe me, we have a jetty that you saw me albie fishing off of. Believe me, I have corkers and everything. But the main fishing is on the beaches here right now. I know. My one buddy goes and fishes the jetty. He hasn't been catching anything, so there's a couple other jetties further, like miles and miles and miles away, and other inlets that have been producing, but it's been a struggle over here. Well, I finally ran out of this thread. Yeah, jetty fishing used to be like the main way that I would fly fish back in the day. I would like only go and just fish the jetty because it was hard to fish the beach. It's a lot easier to fish off a jetty than fish the surf when I wasn't as proficient as a fly fisher when it comes to casting and everything. Yo, Paul, what's up? By the way, you won our giveaway with the peanut bunker video. I'll respond to your comment in it and like let you know, but just either send me your shipping address via Instagram, Paul, or via an email, lifliesmike@gmail.com. It was like the not the most recent video, it was the video before it. The peanut bunker one was our October giveaway video, so you ended up winning. We picked your comment earlier. I think I'm going to use some of this orange thread just because I have it lying around. And frankly, I don't care. I kind of like it. Yeah, well, like for instance, the ocean or the beach side of the jetty is generally where you'll catch most fish when you're fly fishing. For striped bass in particular, at least with my jetty. You can fish the inlet itself, and we used to catch fish like that, but the inlet is anywhere 20 to 30 feet deep. So unless there's bait that's like up against the jetty walls or there's fish feeding, I used to swing flies in the jetty all the time, but over the years, most of my fish have been caught on the beach side where there's like a bowl where the beach meets the jetty as opposed to the inlet where the bay flows out, and fishing on that side. Not only is there like rocks and stuff all on the jetty where the whitewash smashes into, but a lot of times if there's a school of bait, that's in the ocean side, they'll get pinned up against the jetty, so you'll get really cool feeds. But I haven't seen something like that on my jetty in years. It's been a long time since I've had a cool feed like that. The other side, if I drive 30 minutes and drive all the way around the bay to the other side, that spot seems to have more action. But I've been fishing in my area for so long that I do not like driving all the way over there. And it's not guaranteed. If I go there, the fish probably won't be there. But that's the side that we generally would albie fish from. All right, Paul, sounds good. And it's funny, this year the albies were showing up on my side, which was very, very strange, but it was kind of a welcome sight for me. But again, it was a very short season anyway. I actually have a box just of a bunch of random feathers, and we're going to use some of these. Do I have any more jumbo white ones? So we're going to be using synthetics and natural stuff. We can go with all sorts of different colors. I kind of want to use these big grizzly hackle. Yeah. I like that. And if we're at it, might as well. Do I have 2 yellow feathers or only 1 here? That is one thing I'm running dangerously low on, is yellow material. I don't know why, but... Okay, this feather is just not cooperating. We're just going to get rid of you, and we'll go with someone else who wants to be saved from my box of feathers. Here we go. Especially when you get water on both sides. Oh yeah. And then would a 4-odd hook work for this one? For what? For this fly? Yeah, this is a 4-odd Gamakatsu SL12S. I think it's a good size hook. It's pretty beefy. You can see almost my whole thumb fits through it, right? The 6-odd is significantly larger. This is a nice comfortable size for like a 5-6 inch fly, right? Now we got to be careful with the materials. If we were really worried about that, we'll add a lead keel, which I may anyway. I think we're just going to omit the yellow. Well, maybe now. See, the problem is I just don't have yellow colored material in the one way to tie it, so I was going to go school bus, but I'll keep it more white and grizzly, and then we'll use some other colors. Honestly, white, all white, is kind of the colors that I fish the most in the surf. And then I will also fish blue and white or yellow. Blue and white was like my favorite Gibbs color, fishing Gibbs plugs. So the like blue and white Gibbs pencil poppers. But really all white for the daytime, and then black or black and purple, black over purple for the nighttime is kind of like traditionally what I do. I feel like if I'm just adding all, the fly looks great, but a lot of times like a bright white fly is really what you want to use. If you ever see people fishing the surf, what are they fishing a lot of times? They're either fishing a diamond jig for sand eels, or they're throwing all white bucktails and jigging them. So, and traditionally I've just caught the most fish on like all white flies during the day, as opposed to like flies where there's tons of colors and things like that. I'll throw a little flash in here just for fun, because I have it. So I'm starting with bucktail. I'm doing like a tail, like a traditional tail, and then we'll use the slinky fiber pretty much on top of the fly. And a little bit in the bottom probably at the start. But really we're going to focus with the slinky fiber to get our colors and our material up top, and then we'll just go with some bucktail on the belly, kind of like that last fly we tied. So, I think I am going to add a quick keel here. I could have done this before. I'm just going to do strips instead of wrapping it. do like a little minor keel, not a full-on one. I want to leave some room by the hook eye. I'll cut this in a way that it doesn't protrude too much. Yeah, what do you call it? Generally that's the rule. It doesn't mean you can't use dark flies on a bright day, but that's like, definitely in the camp where it's like, if it's a light, sunny day, I'll use lighter colors. Because it's all about really the fish seeing the fly from beneath. And how bait fish react. And how they're, at times they can be translucent, you know, this and that. Bait fish generally aren't solid colors in the water. They can essentially like almost transform depending on how the light reflects off them. Yeah, and then there's the camp of like more muted colors, more natural colors versus brighter colors. Like, I didn't even know this, but this made a lot of sense. Henry Cowan mentioned how Bill Catherwood, most of his flies are like all natural looking colors, like very like pastel sort of colors and tans and this and that. You don't see super bright chartreuses and things. He really focused on like more natural color, like muted colors, as opposed to like in your face sort of stuff. So that's kind of interesting, which I didn't really think about until he mentioned it. But if you look at all his flies, some of them have pinks and stuff, but like squids, you know, and other stuff, pink is pretty prevalent in a lot of bait fish. All right, wrap a little thread back there, make it a little bit easier so it doesn't foul on us and stuff. The other thing you can do is you can take a little liquid fusion and apply it, but this whiting hackle, this American rooster, the grizzly, is so stiff that you don't really need to worry about that a lot of times. It's not going to foul on you that easily. Alright, so the way I've been tying this is kind of inspired by that Paul Monahan fly, but just a little bit of bucktail on the belly and whatnot in different lengths, and then we'll focus with the slinky up top. Yeah, I could certainly use some slinky on the belly, but it also seems to just be much more foul resistant when you tie the slinky on just the top side. It's one of the most important things about fishing a fly in the surf is that you don't want it to foul, because the fly is going to get beat to hell. Like, it's really a durability test of whether the eyes are going to stick on there, whether, you know, you've made the fly durable or not. Just an afternoon of fishing the South Shore beaches and having that fly get dragged through the surf over and over again and tumbled around. Like, flies, if they're not tied well, they'll, you know, start to disintegrate over time from getting rubbed on the sand and everything. Yeah, so I tied 3 pieces side by side on the belly and cut them to equal lengths. You can wrap the wire and then do that the way Mark Sadati does his keels. He takes .035, he wraps half an inch, and then he cuts strips like I did and ties them 5 wide and then ties them 3 high, so 15 pieces cut straight. This is just 3 like this, just to kind of help turn the fly, help it sink a little bit quicker when it hits the water, but we're going to try and make sure that the fly turns over properly and doesn't float like a sponge or a dry sponge, you know, when it first hits the water or something, by making sure that we don't tie too much material on the fly. That's the most important thing. We need to be sparing with the amount of material. So, which is always my struggle personally. But now what we can do is we can take some Steve Farrar fiber or some Slinky fiber here. And I'm going to use a majority white for the colors of this fly. Yeah, no problem, Jimmy. That's what we're here for. Ask away. Ask away. So we're going to take some white slinky here. And I'm just going to pull on the ends to kind of slightly taper it a little bit so it's just not perfectly even. But it's also, it kind of naturally did that itself over time in the bag. So what we can do is we can just essentially take this and then V-tie this. The other option is what we can do is we can take it and then 60-40, where we tie it 40% off the back and 60 in the front, and then fold it like this, that's how we were kind of doing it. We got inspired by Paul Monahan. So we're just going to go to where we tied the bucktail essentially. And what we can do is fold that back like so. And again, keep it sparse. Then we just tie on top like that. And you can tie the bucktail underneath, on top. We're going to tie some bucktail on top here to kind of help make sure that this doesn't foul as easy. The reason why we're using majority white is because that's what I have on hand. Today I was fishing like a herring color. It looks so nice. But I couldn't help but think in the back of my head, I was like, dude, if this was just like all white with a little bit of red in the throat or something, might just be a little bit easier for the fish to see the fly. That's the other tricky thing about surf fishing, is the fact that sometimes you have so little time for your fly. Like normally you're fishing in the bay, you can get a nice long drift, you can cast, you can do all this stuff, but the amount of time that your fish, the amount of time that your fly is in a fishable zone, like where the fish actually are, is way less at times in the surf when it's really rough, because your line's getting yoinked around and this and that. Today it wasn't that bad, but it is obviously, you know, there's a lot of line management going on. There's a lot of current going on with the surf, so it's kind of hard to really fish the fly in like a controlled manner, you know what I mean? It's kind of one of the tougher things. That is definitely where, what do you call it? Having the right line set up and rods set up helps. Like today I was fishing a switch rod with a floating line, and specifically getting footage of like showing how to control your line over some like serious surf up close. It's pretty cool though, the area that I'm fishing, it's super deep right in front of me. I'm actually curious how deep it is. Probably enough to drown with waders if I fell in right there, but there's like a giant hole like right next to the beach. It's almost eroded all the way up against the dunes at this point. And the waves are breaking super big right on the shore, but there's like no waves up until about like 5 to 15 feet off the beach. That's how you can tell it's like really deep right there. So just like having my floating line, being able to float over the waves right crashing in front of me, but have my line like sit 100 feet out as I'm like twitching the fly. That's the sort of thing that you have to be able to. Because the other day, I got some footage the other day. It was so nice. There was virtually like no surf. I got to fish with my sinking line and with the intermediate running line, and I got to fish any which way I wanted to. But when it's too rough, you need a line that can ride above the surf. Otherwise, it's just you're not going to have any line management whatsoever. But I specifically made sure to get footage. I'm going to do a how to fly a surf fishing for striped bass video. But I'm going to be honest with you, like, I haven't been able to catch a single striper in the surf this year. It's the first year I've never been able to catch one. Obviously, some years are better than others, but I'm like, dude, I wanted to get some footage. Because normally I don't fish in the surf because I don't want to wreck my GoPros. Or, it's just really hard to get good footage because I'm constantly getting soaking wet out there. But, I mean, last year we did really good too. Maybe like 6 to 10 fish, not even a lot, but there were some nice fish, and I had to work hard for them. This year, I haven't been able to catch one, so I don't know what the hell is going on. I do not know. All right. But I'm going to keep fishing anyways, because soon it'll be wintertime, and I need to fish before I start going crazy, getting trapped inside. So essentially now, we are going to just keep building up the way we're doing it. Probably could have managed this whole area a little better. I think if we did the keel first, might have been easier, but it worked out all right. We don't want too much bucktail, and we don't want too much slinky fiber. Top or bottom. Bottom, we're just tying bucktail, though. What we'll do at some point, we'll start shortening the length of the bucktail collars. I just don't have any hollow quality bucktail. You could certainly do like hollow ties with this, but I don't have any, so that's completely fine. Get a little white here on the belly, and I'll try and focus that belly section to where I want it to have a little bit more of like a 3D profile, right? So I could easily have it more spread like evenly, fully around the fly on the bottom half, but I'm trying to focus it more so like to where that material is kind of facing downwards like that, getting that belly section. Oh yeah, the only striper I had hit my fly this fall was right like the day before that hurricane that was wrecking Jamaica kind of made its way towards us. And it was virtually unfishable. I went anyways and I filmed it, but while I was fixing my fly line that fell out of the basket and was like getting washed down the beach or something. I don't know. I forgot what happened. I was like trying to manage my line, getting yanked all over the place. A bass came up and smacked the snake fly, but because the current took my fly line like 15 feet to the left and it wraps out, in this giant loop, I wasn't able to stiffen the line up enough to actually set the hook. So that's where it really comes down to line management. And oh, I just cut this in half as well. So let me grab some more. But yeah, barometric pressure generally can have a very large impact on fish, for sure. Remember, the lesson I got that as a kid was we were fishing at the same bridge that I always talk about. And it rained, so like there was a ton of people there, so we went and sat in the car. And these guys, like 2 guys stayed and fished. We were all fishing with clams and stuff for striped bass, basic, bucket fishing, if you will. But when we came back, this dude had like a 40-pound bass sitting on the bridge. And he's like, you guys missed it. You should have stayed. The fish came through and they went nuts. And we were like, oh. So that was an early lesson for me as a kid, like that rainy days and that low pressure from having a storm or right before a storm can like lead to amazing fishing. But I'll never forget that. These guys had like because I forget what the limit was back then. It was like 18 inches was the size, and you could have a couple fish. They had giant bass. I was like, oh my God, dude. And they were like feeding on top, It was like I could have caught them with a bomber or something. I was like, no. All right. So now we'll go with some bucktail on top. And the bucktail on top, a light bucktail collar over this 60-40 tied slinky or SF blend is to help kind of create a veil of stiffer material over the softer slinky, which can foul. So we're trying to create like a veil over it to stop it from fouling. Oh, yeah. Well, this is one thing I've learned over the years fishing for striped bass is You always bring your fly or your lure, whatever you're doing, all the way like right up to where you're standing or right up to the boat. Because I can't tell you how many times, like I've been fishing at night in particular with a fly rod popper, and I would either cast the fly out and then light up a cigarette or something, or like take my phone out and check something because somebody texted me, and my fly would just like hit the water and sit there for like 20 seconds, 30 seconds, sometimes even a minute or two. And I would just let it sit there in the current. Or I would strip the fly in and then just it would be sitting like right at my rod tip, like 10 feet out with leader length. And I'd be checking my phone, and all of a sudden, like, it would scare the crap out of me every single time because it's pitch black. It's like 1 o'clock at night. You can't see anything. And it would just, my rod would explode, and then like a bass would take my fly and go shooting off. So I can't tell you how many times, like, literally not, like, the fly sat in the water and didn't even move for like a minute. It was just sitting there, probably swimming, and the fish was looking at it. Who knows how long that fish was looking at it, too. But, yeah. So always bring your fly. Don't, like, cast it out and, like, bring your lure, whatever you're using, or a popper, and, like, it's like, 40, 50 feet away from the boat, and they start reeling it in really quick. No. You never know, dude. Especially when you're fishing from shore, not from a boat, because, like, bass will see a boat and they'll turn away, but bass will eat right at your feet when you're fishing from shore. As long as you're not stomping around. Alright, this is looking pretty good here. Now we can just essentially continue this. That's what we're doing. Again, trying to keep it pretty sparse. I feel like I've kept it pretty sparse, because the weight of this hook's good enough, and that slight keel we put on there. What I am tempted to do here is, like, now we transition to spinning deer hair. And we kind of did like a bunker-esque sort of thing in the rear, and now we're going to do a like a floating style head in the front, if you will. You know what I mean? I can't decide if I want to continue, but I think we're just going to keep going the way we are. We'll tie a snake fly here in a little bit. What's going on, Craig? How's it going, dude? Out of curiosity, if you were to pick 5 saltwater patterns, what would they be? What am I picking them for? Execution or my favorite saltwater patterns? All right, I'll have to think about this. Chat, get your 5 favorite flies and put them in the chat so we can all figure it out. I'll tell you mine. I'll try and be somewhat quick. Let me think about it, though. Favorite saltwater flies in general. Is this most effective or just my favorite? Pure fish catchability. So what's your 5 favorite fish catching flies, chat? Everyone put yours in the chat. Okay. No significance in the order. Bucktail deceivers. The snake flies, like I mentioned. Flatwings. I guess I could say bucktail deceivers and deceivers. So bucktail deceivers, snake flies, flatwings. I would have to say some sort of popper, so like a Bob's Banger or a gurgler. And I don't fish clousers that often. I'm sure people will be saying clousers, but I just don't fish them that often. And then so I will, but I do love fishing the jiggies, and they do catch a ton of fish. So I'll say jiggies. So that's kind of like your sinking fly. Marty McFly. That makes sense. Michael J. Fox. That's a good pick. What are we doing here? We tied that, so now we're moving forward. Crazy Charlie, Crazy Charlie, Crazy Charlie, Crazy Charlie. Let's see Crazy Charlie. Well. Looks like we found the Crazy Charlie fan. I'm assuming for bonefish? You bone fishing, bone fishing, bone fishing, bone fishing, bone fishing? They work great for, I mean, all sorts of species. I've caught a lot of freshwater fish on Crazy Charlie's. And some stripers, flats fishing. Yo, Theodore, I need if you do want them, by the way, you won a Mickelson candy from the Albie Flybox video, so I need a shipping address. But Theodore says Clousers, anchovy flies, small bunker flies, sand eels, and deceivers. Yep, sounds about right. Bonefish in San Diego. Oh, that's cool. I feel like I've heard about that, but I didn't even realize there's bonefish in San Diego. I know they had them in Hawaii. That's interesting. I feel like I've read an article on that years ago, but it just fell out of my memory because been so long. That's cool though. I didn't know that. Dude, that's wild. You have in that one state you can catch everything from salmon to stripers to bonefish. So are they Pacific bonefish? Or are they native? Or were they introduced? Or what's going on there? I feel like I've never heard anyone talk about the California bone fishing. I'm sure I've heard about it before, but it was in the dark recesses of my mind if it was. You've never heard of bonefish in Cali? Well, Cali's pretty far. I mean, they have bonefish. They have Pacific bonefish, right? And I think I'm almost certain that I don't know if they're on in Baja on that. They very well could be. Let's take a look. San Diego. Fly fishing for bonefish on San Diego Bay. Is it Cia Cortez? Yes, you can bonefish in San Diego Bay, which is a popular local activity. The best spots are the shallow flats, especially around the Silver Strand and the Coronado Island and the Back Bay. They're known to be smaller. Provide excellent techniques. Thank you, AI. Hell yeah, brother. Hell yeah. Smoking a cigar and catching some bonefish. Look at that. All red. Clouser. That's interesting. Yeah, they're definitely... Look at them. They're almost like petite bonefish. Compared to the Bahamian ones or something. Interesting. Very interesting looking. Alright, there you go. We learned something new. They are native. The native range of bonefish in the Eastern Pacific is from Ecuador to hold your hat, San Francisco. Damn. Oh, you all the way to San Francisco. So you can catch striped bass fishing by the San Francisco, the Golden Gate Bridge, probably, and then accidentally catch a bonefish. That's crazy. That's very cool. I wonder what's the farthest north someone's accidentally caught a bonefish here on the, because they're in Florida and stuff. Every year we're getting more and more exotic species. People will catch cobia, and they're starting to catch redfish here. So I always wonder, and there's tarpon that have been sighted. Footage of tarpon in the bay, in my bay here. So I'm always wondering when we're gonna start catching tarpon here accidentally or something. Like 30, 40 years from now when global temperatures rise and this local area will be like, I don't know, like who the hell knows? We might start seeing like redfish and stuff more regularly, which is kind of freaky. But I'm curious what's the farthest north on the Atlantic side that a bonefish has been caught. Because they're really like down in the Keys. I don't even think they go. I don't know how far up they get them in Florida, but I don't think you're going to be catching bonefish in St. Augustine or something. All right, let's. I think we've kept it somewhat sparse enough. Let's give it a brush. No, look, Jimmy, this is something that I want every single person to realize. I guess I should make a video on this because people are constantly asking me all the time, like if they can use this or that. In saltwater fly tying, it's not like, you need to follow the instructions on a fly like they would with a dry fly or something. Or this is the best analogy. Saltwater fly tying is like cooking, and like traditional freshwater fly tying that you think of like with dry flies or this and that, that's like baking, right? So when it comes to saltwater fly tying, as long as the fly swims properly and it's not a pain in the ass to cast, then you can do whatever you like. The colors don't matter, right? I'm explaining why I'm using all white, right? But like me using orange thread versus white thread, I don't think it's going to make the difference. Maybe the orange might have something to do with it. Maybe it might help, like having that orange inside running along the inside of the white, maybe it will. I don't know. But you can swap any of the materials out, any of the colors out. You can change the size, the length of the material, the hook sizes. And this is for everybody. The main thing is that what are you trying to achieve? Like, are you going to tie a completely different fly at some point? Or are you going to tie something like this, but maybe you don't have slinky fiber, so you're going to use some Supreme hair? But, that being said, the materials might be a different density or thickness and stuff, so you might need to tie in the materials in different amounts, vice versa. So, like, how you get to the final result doesn't matter as long as you, get there. So whether you're using the same stuff as me, whatever, doesn't really make that much of a difference. But, yeah, I'm going to have to make a video on this because people constantly are reaching out and asking me about, like, or they're like, what if I use eyes that are 1 inch, or what if I use number 3 eyes instead of number 4? I'm like, I just want to get on a loudspeaker, like, it does not matter. Like, this is where I wish I had my soundboard set up so I could do some sort of megaphone effect over my voice. All right. And I say nowadays, it's a little different, but I think when you think of traditional, like, trout tying, it still is very much so in the, you kind of follow a traditional fly recipe or something, if you will, because, this is like these patterns. Some of these flies are like hundreds and hundreds of years old, and they're very well established. And trout in particular, when it comes to entomology and how they eat bait and stuff, is very particular. So, like, think of like that sort of fly tying with like the mayflies and the dry flies as like contemporary, like painting or something, like a very, like some sort of painting where you see like some sort of crazy image where there's like some medieval, whatever it may be, right? And then think of saltwater fly tying as like abstract sort of art. You can do like whatever the hell you want. As long as it swims right and is everything okay. Like, you can do, there's some crazy stuff. Like, really where all these wild and like innovative fly tying techniques have came from over the past 30 years is from saltwater fly tying, from like people experimenting, doing all this wacky stuff that you normally would never do if you weren't unrestricted by, or if you were restricted by traditional sort of thinking and like, well, you got to do this, you got to do that, you got to do this. Bob Popovic said, nope, I'm tying the bucktail forward and I'm folding it back. Everybody was like, whoa, what are we doing here? You know what I mean? They're like, he's crazy. Now I think in fly tying in general, people are much more open and much more adventurous and tying all sorts of crazy things and stuff. I think now we can maybe reduce the length of our slinky fiber ties as well. Try and get the profile a little bit more dialed in here. And again, trying to be sparse. Now, again, if you're going to use more material on top. So at least the material on top will ensure the fly is going to turn over, right? Obviously, I'm not going to be like, well, let's load it up, boys, and go crazy. But if you are going to put more material on one particular side or the other, do it on top. You're going to reverse the hook and fish reverse hook up. No, what you got to do is you got to have the fish catch you. You're doing it all wrong. You got to go even deep, even further. You got to have the fish. You have to become the prey. And I'm trying to think. I think the only way to do it, and I can't. And I'm joking, by the way. Don't go do this. He like goes and swims out. I'm like, you got to go out and you got to go swim with sharks, like off the. How can you go even further? Other than reversing the material, you can fish backwards, perhaps. But I think the real true the finish line is being eaten by a fish. This is like a cult. This is like cult talk now. My brothers, we must rejoice with the almighty fish. Come join me in the waters of Lake Titicaca. No, Lake Minnetonka. That's what it is. Lake Titicaca is a place, but I was explaining to somebody that didn't see Purple Rain how Prince kicks this girl into a lake that he drove all the way out there and then leaves her there. It was one of the funniest scenes. He takes this girl all the way out to a lake. He's like, cleanse yourself in the waters of Lake Minnetonka. He pushes her in the water and just drives away on his motorcycle. It's such a random scene. I remember watching Purple Rain when I was like in middle school or something. I was like, what, dude? What is that? It's my all-time favorite scene from that movie, though. And that's where Dave Chappelle comes up with that bit. He's like, cool yourselves off in the waters of Lake Minnetonka. That's what he's referencing when it's the Charlie Murphy bit. Oh, it's so good. Yeah, if you haven't seen Purple Rain by Prince, check it out. It's a great movie. I was about to start singing Purple Rain, but they're very strict with DMCA, so. And as you know, I'm pretty good. You know, somewhat of a musician, if you will. Have Jerry play a clip of me, like, half drunkenly playing guitar on Twitch years ago, embarrassing myself. Every Saturday night. Mm-hmm. I didn't see it, no. Sharks are awesome. I love sharks. Officially, the biggest fish I've ever caught on the fly has been a couple different shark species. So until I get a freaking tuna or something, I mean, honestly, probably that will be the biggest fish that I'll ever catch will be some sort of shark species. Unless we ever get like a marlin or something, because there's no way in hell I'm catching a tuna over 100 pounds. Then it'll break my back. So I don't know how big. It's probably like 100 and something pounds, but we got to break the 200-pound mark on a fish at some point. So that's probably where we can get into like maybe some sort of shark species like makos or something, or blue sharks. I haven't seen the guys in Florida, but if I know, are you talking about Conway Bowman out of San Diego, because he is like the Mako dude. He's like the premier Mako guide, and he fly fishes for Makos, and that's like all he does. It's out of San Diego. I'm sure there's other people, but if you haven't, check him out. He's like the dude that has been like seems like the person that knows what they're doing the best. Oh yeah, you got Pacific Makos. No, yeah, I don't know if they're what sort of Makos, or if it's a Pacific Mako or what. I just did like cat noises there, what I used to do when I used to call my cat, and that pss, pss, pss. I don't know what sort of Mako species, but I know we have two different types of Makos over here. They're like both protected species now. I don't even think you can fish for either. One you used to be able to keep. I don't even think they allow you to now. I think they completely shut down Mako fishing here, but I could be wrong. Shark fishing is highly regulated. That's one thing people don't really get. You also need permits to do it. So all these people fishing for sharks off the beaches are technically doing it illegally, but they also don't have... It's all vessel permits and stuff. I think you might be able to get shark stuff, but like tuna, for instance, people were getting like contacted by the what was it, the ASMFC or some sort of fishing game or something for catching tuna from docks in like North Carolina and stuff. The reason is because it's considered a highly migratory species, the HMS permit. So you need a whole special permit, and like every day you need to call and see what the regulations for tuna are, or for this or that. It's like a whole process. So they need to figure out some sort of land-based tuna permit, because apparently there's so many tuna getting close to shore that people are like accidentally committing crimes catching tuna and posting it on Instagram and stuff, you know what I mean? Yeah, that's the thing. Like, for instance, you're not supposed to be if you, for instance, hook like a white shark or something like that, you're supposed to try and get it off the line as quick as possible. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of people don't know a lot of this stuff. I see people like dragging like white sharks onto the beach and stuff and taking photos. I'm like, dude, I think you could get in trouble for that. Because the whole idea, they want you not to like sit there and take photos with a federally protected species, you know, or whatever. But I don't know, whatever. I also see tons of Instagram videos of people like literally committing felonies in cars, like driving through like Manhattan, or like driving on the thoroughways in New York City and driving like 150 miles an hour, running away from cops and stuff. So apparently on Instagram you can just post whatever the hell you want of you committing crimes. So it doesn't really matter nowadays, until they use AI in the future to start arresting people for past crimes or something. I'm always amazed though, looking at Instagram. I see the wildest stuff. And all I do is follow fly fishing and some car stuff, you know, because I used to do a lot of drifting and was into Japanese cars. But they just show you so much nonsense that I don't follow. So I just like, sometimes I look through Instagram, I'm like, man, this is like, we're cooked. We are so cooked. Why are they even showing me all this crap? I don't even know, but I want to see like flies, and I want to see like Nissan S14s and stuff. Like, it's crazy because I used to be part of God, I can barely talk, car culture. And, you know, perhaps, you know, you'd go driving on the highway or something, or this or that, yada, yada, yada. Back in the day, you'd see some people post some stuff, and they say they were in Mexico or something like that. But, like, people were smart. You're not going to be posting that stuff. Nowadays, these kids, they don't care. They're just posting, like, they're, like, street racing. They're doing... I'm like, damn, dude, they're crazy. You might have the sheriff's department knock on your door or something. I'm so happy I'm not like part of car culture anymore. It looks like, I saw all these car meets and stuff nowadays. It looks terrible. There's like people fighting, people shooting each other. I'm like, what is this? Crazy stuff. They had to shut this one meet down. They were doing it for years. I think it was like in Atlanta or something, but there's some wild stuff going on. Even me, because I used to have a Nissan S13. It was a 93 Nissan 240SX, and it was like all blacked out, and it had an SR20. So you could hear like the turbo and everything. You hear the from like the blow-off valve. So I was going to like welding class, and I would drive up the island to this welding class, and every night there'd be people that would pull up to me and be like, "Yo, $500, let's go race right now." They were trying to street race me. So like up the island, people were street racing all the time back then. I'm like, no, sir, I'm not doing that. Like dudes in Civics would pull up, like piece of crap Civics and stuff with like K20 engines. I'm going to welding class. Those are good times. Having my car break down on the highway because it would scrape the highway as I was driving, and it scraped something and like scraped through some electrical or so. I don't know what the hell happened. Like my suspension came apart one night. I'm like, I'm pretty certain my rear subframe's falling out or something. What the hell is going on like the side of the road in the rain and the highway at like 11 o'clock at night, trying to fix it. Good times, good times. Yeah, we don't have a lot of racetracks, especially here on Long Island. You have to go, there's like one track, and it's like a little round NASCAR track looking thing for like pretty much all of my friends in high school growing up, for them to drive piece of junk cars like Saturns around and race, you know. No offense, Rev, but it was like hobo racing, you know what I mean? Like, drink a beer and like smashing Saturns into each other, that sort of stuff. So there's nowhere for like, you know, anybody with any sort of like, you know, track or any sort of different sort of track racing to get their fix. So you have to go upstate New York or go to Jersey. I would go to New Jersey to go drifting back in the day at Englishtown. It's in the NASCAR Hall of Fame, brother, because probably back in 19 Dickety, some guy rode a horse and wagon around it, and they were running moonshine. And now, look, doing the God's work. Nothing but Saturns. Whatever. I think PJ's he's been racing. He's got like a tricked out Monte Carlo, and he moved up from like the smash 'em cars to like, it looks like a legit race car. He's got like a sick looking Monte Carlo. I think he goes there. I could be wrong, or he goes somewhere else, but he's got like a legit race car now. It's pretty sick. He was showing me photos. Well, there we go. Surf fly. Yeah, Laguna Seca. Oh, there's a ton of tracks. There's different events and stuff. I think they used to do a... I forgot the name of... Is it IMSA or something? They used to do... Or it's not even that. They do these events around the country where they set up cones. And they put cones in parking lots. And they do these like... Almost like little mini racetracks. And you do time trials. I forgot the name of it though. Like you would see people with Hondas and like S2000s and GTRs doing it. I forgot the name of it, but... You still have videos from us in Englishtown? Yeah, they're on my Instagram. And, do I have them anywhere else? I feel like they're just on my Instagram or something. They're probably in one of my older phones, too. I think I have the footage saved somewhere. I'm not certain, but... I know it's posted somewhere on Instagram. Me and Rev used to go drifting. We went in for was there like 4th of July bash or something? We went. Have you ever had the ceramic insert came apart? No. I've had it be pushed in before, where I dropped this and it was like, it looked like it moved a little, but I've never had it come out. Why? Did you have this come out? The ceramic end part? What I will say is I've had people mention it. If you ever have an issue, you contact Right Bobbin, they'll just send you a new one. They might have you send the old one, I'm not certain. But you contact them and be like, hey, the ceramic tip fell out, they'll just send you one, I'm pretty certain. We've had a couple people had like minor issues or something with their Right Bobbins, and they've fixed it. You could try and glue it, but I think you could still glue it, and they'd still probably send you one or whatever. You could take a little bit of glue and try gluing it in there, but definitely reach out to them, and they'll probably. I'm not gonna promise 100%, but I'm almost certain they will take care of you. No issues. Tying some weedless crappie jigs and lurking. Very nice. Greg the Guppy guy. I like it. I like it. Very cool. I know. I see one of my buddies that spin fishes. He's been getting into crappies now. I might need to hit him up. Have him take me. You're good. No worries. Yeah, so what I would do, chat, what's the best way you think to glue the ceramic back in? I'm a little worried about using super glue. But I guess you could take a tiny bit of super glue and put it like on the outside of the bodkin, but not on the tip or the end of the ceramic. Put it in like a little bit higher up, and then you stick it in there and twist it. And I think it'll be fine. And then call them and be like, hey, it popped out. Could you guys like send me one, or can I send this? Can you fix it? Do whatever. And they'll take care of you. Made in the U.S. These guys are amazing. So I've had the only issue I've ever had is this. Over time, it moves on me. I've glued it in place, but honestly, I kind of like it. You guys will see me like I'll be like, it kind of moves on me, and now I've gotten used to it. So I might need to have them come out with a signature bobbin where it kind of moves or something. I don't know. Like, I'm so used to it now. I've used UV resin. I've used super glue. It always comes loose over time. I think somebody mentioned there's probably something you can do to permanently fix it. But, it's not really that big of a deal. Oh, UV resin for the tip. If it gets in the tube, it's over. Yeah. Oh, that's a great idea, Paul. So stick the thing back in there. And then put a little UV resin right here around it and hit it with the light. You could easily break that off if you need to. So, that's a good way. Get it to where you want it. It slides out. Have you tried that? Maybe because of ceramic. Well, that's all I could think about is super glue. That would fix it. And otherwise, you should contact them and have them send you a new one. That or use some freaking duct tape or something. You just epoxied it and it hasn't moved since, yeah. Doc, I've fixed it over time. You've seen it. I kind of like it moving, man. I don't know. It's kind of weird. And also, God forbid, if we get one of these situations. Oop. Easy money. Back in business. Back in business, baby. Yeah, I'm going to be honest with you. I'd probably try the super glue myself, but I get what you're saying. But I'm pretty certain they'll just replace it. So, because if I got to tie, I got to tie. The main thing is you don't want the super glue to get inside of the bodkin. So I would, or the ceramic. So I would put it on the outside of the ceramic in a very small amount. Oh, did the ceramic break or did it just fall apart? Yeah. Yeah, call them first or whatever. If you haven't talked to them, and they might just send you one, dude. You might not even need to send that one back, but I'm not certain how it works, but you probably will send it back or something. But they might send you one. I'm not even certain, so I'd reach out to them first is the main thing I'd do. All right, let's take a quick little break here, chat. And by the way, you could easily put eyes on here. Am I going to? I don't know. I kind of feel like no, I'm not going to. Because I'm going to be honest with you, a lot of times I don't for my flies. Definitely, like, kind of finishes it off, but I'm going to be honest with you, we probably don't even need it, so You could do a killer thread wrap. Dude, I don't know. I've seen like Hank Altenkirk, somebody from the island here is a master rod builder, or like Wolfram Custom Rods on Twitch. He built me my 11 weight. I've seen the custom rod wrapping that they do, and I don't know, dude. I don't know if I could do that. Don't know if I could do that. Wait, what's the cheapest resin you use in bulk that also works well? Any cheat codes? I paid $44 for this, dude. $44 for 2 ounces. If I knew, I'd tell you. Now, I will say, our resident Irish fly tyer, Doc, who also does commercial fly tying, he uses cheap stuff from Amazon. He says it works just as well. So I plan on making a video where we order the largest bottle at the cheapest price with the most amount of positive reviews, I suppose, on Amazon versus Solarise. And then officially ruin my chances of ever being sponsored by Solaris or Solarise. I still think there are differences in certain UV resins and how they cure and stuff, but I'm curious. And I'm also curious to take them and literally smash them against rocks afterwards. Amazon Vita Rosa is the name. 1 kilogram for €30. I'll write it down. Vita Rosa UV. What I'm literally going to do is go with my fly rod and cast back and forth and smash it against the inlet rock and see which one breaks first. Or like smash it against a boat motor over and over again as I'm casting. Because that's really like the sort of things that are going to determine, right? Stuff I've been using, I think it's from Temu. And when it hardens, it's solid. Took a hammer to a ball of it and couldn't break it. Interesting. Torture test. Yeah, the torture test. You're about it? Yeah. I don't think we're going to see that much of a difference, honestly. All UV resin will break. And it's especially how thick or thin it is. Like, I'm sure you could probably get an impenetrable layer of UV resin, but you would have the fly be uncastable, right? It's big business these days. What's that, Calvin? The resin? The low viscosity works? Yeah. Well, the thing is, dude, they sell a 4-ounce bottle. The 4-ounce bottle used to be like, I think, $36. Nowadays, the 2-ounce bottle costs $40. So it's like, oh, man. You cure the Amazon in the sun and the tackiness goes away. I cure every resin in the sun. This resin cures pretty good. The thin resin is tacky, but a medium or thick Solarise, when you hit it with the light long enough, it's not tacky. But no matter what, I always stick them in the sun because I don't want a customer to pick up a fly in a fly box at a fly shop and it's like all sticky on their hands, you know? It says it's 100 grams. I don't know. This is 59 milliliters or 2 fluid ounces. So how much is 100 grams into fluid ounces? Fluid ounce. 100 grams is approximately equal to 3.4 fluid ounces, U.S. fluid ounces. So you get almost 2/3 of the amount that you get in this, according to the Temu one. Tough days to start getting people in the fly fishing. Well, I mean, it's cheaper than it's ever been. Right? Fly fishing, you can just get a fly rod for $130. I mean, you're still going to be spending $200-300, but I mean, if you're trying to get serious into surf fishing, you're not going to buy a $50 Walmart rod. You're going to spend $200-300 anyway, so. The fishing was good in Jersey. I haven't caught a striped bass since September, and I've been fishing 3 to 4 times a week, fly fishing. So the fishing is not what it used to be back in the day. Striped bass numbers are down. Doesn't mean you can't catch fish. It's just for me in my particular local area, places that I've caught fish like year round, I'm not catching fish anymore. So it doesn't mean other people aren't catching fish. I just suck, I guess, or something. I don't know. Get good, right? Or something. I don't know. You got 2 bottles for like $8. They don't look at his liquid weight. They look at the resin weight. Well, if you find out what the name of that particular stuff is, then let us know. But I'm going to try and... I'm going to try out the Amazon stuff that Doc's talking about. I personally never bought anything from Temu. I always thought it was a freaking scam, but I remember when it first came out, I'm like, what the hell? But essentially just buying cheap crap from China, right? You haven't caught anything in a while? I didn't even go out last week? Yeah. I was talking to some dudes. I mean, there's guys catching fish in the surf, but... Yo, Young Juice Box. Damn, I forgot your name, bro. It's been a while. I remember you. Only reason is because your name sounds like a freaking rapper or something. They call me Young Juice Box. Do I have a horn sound? I don't. I would love it. I wish I had a horn sound like... Your father was at the fishing club in Rhode Island all summer. It was meh. I mean, if you got a boat, you can go out and catch fish. Just the fishing from shore sucked this year, dude. It's just slowly been getting worse over the past like 4 or 5 years. You just look at the numbers, just straight, whatever. But we're not going to get into it. I complain about it every stream. I'm going to make a video on it at the end of the season, talking about how it's been my worst year of striper fishing locally. Yeah, tell me about it. Tell me about it. Well, when I'm paying $16 a goddamn bucktail, it's hard to make any money tying flies for a living, so... Who the hell knows when I'm going to fix my boat? We got the fly shop that I tie flies for charging me $16 a bucktail. I know, Jerry. I know. I'm sorry to say it, Jerry, but we're going to have to start using human meat for the empanadas. I'm sorry. No more high-quality beef. I got a guy at the morgue. We're going to have to cut back. Amazon, it's called Let's Resin. There is a brand called Let's Resin that I saw a guy making molds and making miniatures with pourable resin. And I saw he actually had a little bottle he was pouring. I just literally watched someone using it today for tabletop stuff. That's interesting. You just gotta find somebody that you can be friends with that goes hunting all the time. I have friends that have boats, and they take me out sometimes. It's usually like, dude, it was crazy yesterday, and then like I go, and then it's like, I should have been there yesterday. I'm like, you shouldn't have brought me on the boat. I'm like looking for bananas in my pockets. Moved down to Florida down here, and been only some fishing. Was hot AF. Yeah, dude, I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't think I could live down there. I had a girlfriend move down there back in the day, an ex, and she was like, "You're gonna come move to Florida with me." And I went and visited her, and I just couldn't do it. I spent a week. The humidity was so bad, and it wasn't even summertime. It was like 90 degrees every day. I'm like, how am I? I was a mechanic at the time. I was like, I'm gonna die. Like, I don't see these shops have all their doors open, so they don't have AC in the shop. So like, I'm gonna die working on cars in the middle of the summer. Like, I'm good. I'll just stay in New York. That being said, Florida's sick. I just can't do it. You still have bucktails that are stinky? Yeah, that's the sort of stuff like where they pour the resin and make the tables. Yeah. That's like a pourable resin, though. Oh, yeah, well, anything in Jersey, like, it also has the highest tax rate out of any place in the country, which that doesn't help. So, all right, we're going to take a little break here, and when we get back, we'll tie another fly. So I'm going to go grab another White Claw and another seltzer, and just stretch my legs a little bit real quick. I appreciate everyone tuning in. We'll come back, we'll tie another fly, we'll do a little chit-chatting, yada, 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 and we'll wrap it up, so... You got to get back up to Rhode Island? Yeah. I love Rhode Island, and I've only just been there a handful of times, but I love Rhode Island. I've never even fished Rhode Island. But, yo, what's up, Bronzeback? How you doing? You been bassing it up or what? All right. We'll be back here shortly, all right? as always, the Albie highlight. Yeah, dude. Yeah, dude. Stay tight, alright? Yep, keep it tight. Yeah, dude. Yeah, Aiden. Knuckle buster. Are you good? Do you need me to do anything?
Yeah, I might need a ride. Yes.
Okay. Hold on, I'm gonna turn now.
I'm gonna try and get on the valve.
Yeah, get on the valve. Alright, you're doing good. Keep doing your thing. I'm gonna move us away.
Is that a little one?
No, that's a nice one.
Oh, let's go!
Come here, close next to your alley. Good job.
That's sick.
Alright. Nice.
Let's go! Woo! Albie slap!
Good job, dude.
Yee!
Looking down the barrel of a 12 gauge little tuny, bro. On the albacore too. Oh my god, dude! What the fuck? Woohoo! Oh my god. Yep. Oh my God!
You gotta turn the boat so I can cast. Oh my God, dude!
All right, we're back. You guys talking about bucktails? The best way to dry it out, I would debone it. You got to scrape as much of the fat and sinew and stuff off of it. Pin it to a board and then cover it in 10,000. What is it? 10,000 horse cart borax or 1,000 horse cart borax. It's called. I've used salt, but the salt isn't the best. What is it called? $20 team borax or something it's called, or something like that. It's borax you want to put on there, but the name of the brand I forgot what it's called. Something like that. And borax will dry it out. You're gonna need to like shake it and shake it off and replace it. I've used just salt in the past, but borax is like a laundry detergent. I'll show you. 20 team borax. Borax, or sodium borate, is a naturally occurring mineral compound used as a household cleaning booster in cosmetics and very industrial applications. It's an emulsifier, a preservator, and buffer agent in bath salts and scrubs. Well, there you go. And don't breathe it in, I guess. But essentially like a white detergent. That's what it is. Powder or something. There you go. All right. That's what I use, and I had the best results when I would go hunting and get my own tails, for instance. It was borax. Had the best results. Okay, let's try one more fly. We won't make it too long, and I'm going to hang out. Let's go ahead and use one of these Mustad 34007 SS's. Also, let's get a little music going. A lot of people down here that want to learn how to fly fish. I've been so lazy and I've told them come by and I'll show them how to cast. That sounds fine. Best way to learn is in person, for sure. Do you ever use markers on your deceivers? Yeah, you can throw a... in the most recent video, I think... Oh, no, the peanut bunker video, we did... you take the marker and you apply the dot behind the gill plate. The classic sort of bunker dot. Or you could do barring and stuff. But we had grizzly hackle in this one, for instance. If you wanted to continue the barring, you could take a Sharpie and continue the barring on the fly. But I'm not going to, but you can. In the back of my head, I always think, like, is the fish going to smell the Sharpie? So do I want to wait a day before I fish it or something? I don't know if it actually makes a difference, but I can't help but think that sometimes. But that being said, I'll throw a dot on bunker flies. I don't think it matters. It's something you just got to learn, and you have to stick with it. Especially with saltwater. With freshwater fly fishing, it's much easier to get someone down to a lake, Teach them the basics of fly casting, and they can start catching panfish. That's the best way of doing it. But if you're trying to teach someone how to fly fish for striped bass, especially over the internet, like I do all the time, people ask me, I'm like, listen, brother, you're gonna need to put some work in. You know what I mean? It's gonna be blowing 30 miles an hour every day you bring that fly rod in the truck. So you better have it in the truck every day, or leave it home and give up. So I pretty much said, if I want to get good at fly fishing, I'm going to stop spin fishing, and I'm just going to only fly fish. And that's what I've done since age 10 or like 12 or something. Doesn't mean, and I could pick up a spinning rod. Last year we went and caught a bunch of fish to test out these teasers I was tying for a shop. Caught a bunch of bass, but I'm just addicted to fly fishing. Like, I would rather catch one on the fly. Because you know what's going to happen? I'm gonna take that surf rod out, and next thing you know, I'm gonna hook a giant bass, and it's gonna bite the lure right next to the beach, and I could have caught it on the fly rod. So that's the thing that repeats in my head over and over and over again. So I make sure to stick it out with the fly, because eventually I'll get a 50-pounder. Might need to wait for a moratorium, but we'll get one. God, I hope not, but the way things are going, who knows? Let's tie a chartreuse. If it ain't chartreuse, it ain't no use. Unbelievable, by the way. Fucking $16 a bucktail. What's up, Slim? I saw you got them dank nugs, bruh. Shit was looking frosty. The Spanish Fly on ESPN and wanted to try it? Yeah, dude. Jose Wehebe, rest in peace, dude. The dude's a legend. You gotta love Jose Wehebe. Had one hell of a mustache, too. Probably the best mustache in fly tying or fly fishing. Yeah, that was one of my favorite shows. That, along with Flip Pallets, Walker K Chronicles. Those were the two fly fishing shows that were like top of the line, the best. The problem is, I think Jose did some stuff on stripers, but it was all like flats fishing, because that's really like, you got to realize in the 90s, striper fly fishing wasn't cool. Everything that was the cool stuff, that Orvis was like, it was like bonefish, permit, that sort of stuff, right? Flats fishing. They had way more like flies for that and this and that. That was like where I think like it was like, that's real salt. You know, I don't know. It's hard to say. It's hard to put in words, but I feel like that's like where the focus was a lot in terms of the industry. And then the striper industry like blew up. You know, it was like the amount of people fly fishing for stripers far exceeded the amount of people with tons of money that were spending money on trips going down to the Bahamas, like the traditional stuff, you know. But back in the day, it was very much so like that was like what they were pushing, like tarpon, bonefish, and it was the stuff where you needed like thousands of dollars to go on trips, you know, this sort of stuff. Nowadays, I think it's much more grounded saltwater fly fishing. Much more affordable as well. There wasn't as many like cheaper options back in the day for like quality saltwater fly fishing stuff. Yeah, I've given up on it, Doc. It's too hard. It's easier just to go over to the res. I've heard good stuff about Echo rods. There's no stripers in the Bahamas. I think the furthest they go south is some areas in Florida, but really it's like North Carolina is like the realistic range. But no. That's too That is too far south for them. We'll throw a couple shorties in here too. Short pieces of hackle. I don't even know what I'm tying, but I want it to be chartreuse. I'm kind of half tempted to do like the body that we just did and then spin some deer hair, but on the other hand, I don't want to have to clean up all the deer hair, so I'm kind of thinking that we're going to do like the same sort of thing. Might be, but I don't think that's like those are hybrid stripers. Like when it comes to a record saltwater striped bass, I'm pretty certain it's like 78 pounds and it was caught in Connecticut or something. I think technically the law is still up in the air. I think you technically need a permit because it's just New York's. Or no, I think you're good now or something. I forget. I think you're okay now or something. I don't know. They were like, in 6 months, we'll have all of the laws figured out. And it took them so long to figure it out. I think it's okay now, but it's like very limited or something. I don't know. They suck, dude. They really haven't done a good job with it, but I'm pretty certain you can now. Everyone was like, yeah, you could just grow your own weed. And I was like, no, you can't. After they legalized cannabis, I'm like, they have to make like licenses or something they were talking about. Everyone's like, what? And I'm like, did you not read the freaking the laws that they put out? But then I think recently, I remember News 12 said something, but I don't know. Who knows? Yeah, you rarely see fish over 60 pounds nowadays. You rarely see fish over 60 pounds. I'd say 50, like 40s are somewhat regular on certain bites and feeds, you know. You'll see guys catching 40s off Montauk and like Jersey and off bunker pods here in the South Shore. When you start getting 50s, okay, now we're getting like crazy, but anything over that regularly is like very uncommon. Yeah, 80 pounds in Connecticut. There you go. I remember it was like 78 pounds, so somebody must have broken it, but I'm telling you guys, there are photos. I remember seeing them. I don't know in what book or what, but there are photos from dudes in the Hudson River in like that sort of like music era where like gangsters with Tommy guns were shooting stuff up, or maybe even earlier than that, right? There's dudes standing holding striped bass that are like 6 foot long and that were caught in New York City in the Hudson River. So like they were like, there's reports, none of it was like verified to my knowledge, but there were reports of like fish that were over 100 pounds, like up to 120 pounds that were caught in like New York City back in the day. I'm gonna look it up actually. I have striper books downstairs that talk about it. Hudson River stripers. 1900s Hudson River giant striped bass. Like, yeah, I can't, dude. I remember seeing black and white photos of these dudes. And like, it's none of this stuff you're gonna find nowadays. I gotta find it, but I mean, you think you're like, whoa, dude, that's a big bass. No, I'm talking about these fish are like, now mind you, it could be some short 5'6", Italian dude. I don't know, but these fish are like as tall as the people that are holding them. I gotta find the book, but There's some big fish in the Hudson, but apparently way back in the day, when before we killed them all and everything, there were some like giants back then. But I don't know. It could just be rumors, right? I gotta find the books and stuff. I have books, and I'm pretty certain there's photos in some of those of like from like the early 1900s where it was like a flash photography, like where they would like light off a pan or something, Yeah. I'm gonna be honest with you, it's tough, and I think what Slim Thunder said, getting the right genetics is super important, but if you're doing outdoors, it's one thing, but indoors, man, it's tough. I've had a lot of issues. I've had so many issues, wasted so much time over the years. All right. Let's go ahead. You're hearing ragtime music now? Just imagine that, and they're like holding like 100-pound stripers. Okay? There you go. That's what we're talking about. Well, I might as well use this $16 bucktail I bought. Oh my god, it's not even good bucktail, dude. I'm gonna have to start raising deer in my backyard, I think. Oh, that's good. Damn, dude, that was like all the rage too back in the day. It was like you'd be in high school and someone's like, dude, they got this weed from Cali, bro. I'm going back to Cali. Going back to Cali. We were like, whoa. Definitely beat the BC bud we were getting back then. I can technically tag 3 more deer before the end of the season. I had 7 on my trail cam Monday. Well, how many tags do you get? We get, I think, 1 male tag, like for a buck. 1 buck tag. Then there's 1 either sex tag. And then you can pay to get like 5 additional doe tags. And if you fill out your doe tags, they will give you even more doe tags. They're like, please. Because if not, they're going to pay like government snipers to go thin out the population because there's so many deer on Long Island. Oh yeah, for sure. 5 tags, 2 bucks, and 3 does. Oh, okay. Yeah, I think you can get like, if you just buy the normal hunting license without bear, because upstate New York has bear hunting, you can get a turkey tag, and you get 1 buck tag, 1 either sex tag, and a doe tag, I think, or maybe just the 2 tags, and then you buy the 5 doe tags for like $15 or something cheap. I forget what it is. I haven't hunted though in years. I was thinking about it. I was like, man, I haven't caught a damn striper. Maybe I should start freaking bow hunting, but I'm so busy with having 2 YouTube channels. I got to start pumping out YouTube videos on both. So it's wintertime. I'm going to start putting a ton of energy into YouTube and stuff. So one of these days I'll get back into bow hunting, but I think I want to spend a year shooting my recurve before I get back into it. So I don't like hunting unless I'm fully confident that I'm like rearing and ready to go and I can hit a target like every time at 20 yards, no problem. I haven't shot a bow, my recurves, in a while, so. Problem is, I used to rent an apartment that had a giant backyard, and the guy hunted as well, so he was all cool with it. Nowadays, I can only shoot like to 10 yards, 8 yards, so it really sucks. And if I miss, like, my arrow's going to go flying into my neighbor's backyard. So I got like... The other YouTube channel is Mike Rolls Dice, which, by the way, I forget how many. I think I need 10 more subscribers or something. Let's take a look. I am almost monetized. That channel has been doing very good. By the way, dude, this guy right here is going to win Streamer of the Year. The Burt Peanut, this guy is blown the F up. He had 50,000 people watching him play Arc Raiders the other day. Also, shout out to my boys, Djibouti Show. These are my boys right here. But Burnt Peanut's awesome. I've been watching him, dude. I enjoy it. Where's my channel? Here we go. Mike Rolls Dice. Go on over and give it a sub. It's all tabletop wargaming stuff. So we have Trench Crusade, which is a miniature agnostic tabletop wargaming skirmish game. Grimdark Future, but really what we've been focusing on is Conflict 47, which is a new game. And by the way, these videos have been doing good. In like the first couple days, they get like 1,000 views. But so we're almost monetized. We're gonna get members at 500 subs. So we just need 8 more subs. But once we get to 1,000, I'm gonna start earning ad revenue. So it's gonna help pay for all of this camera stuff and everything that I always do. But shout out to Rev too. Rev is my opponent on most of these videos. But the past 2 ones we did, like this one right here is like a movie. These 2 are like little movies you can watch where I did like Japanese voice acting and stuff. So, but check them out. Mike Rolls Dice. We're getting there. We're almost monetized. The funny thing is, I think that this channel probably over time will just become way bigger than LI Flies Mike. I have a feeling. But LI Flies Mike is, you know, this is what I do. We tie flies for a living, so. Dude, Arc Raiders is really good. Are you playing Elden Ring PvP, really? Yeah, I didn't try Elden Ring until about a year ago. And I played it, absolutely loved it. I don't think I ever fully beat it. I ended up being in this cave system where I had to ride these chariots through lava to get this one item, and I was like, I'm done with this for now. But, what do you call it? When Elden Ring Night Rain came out, dude, we were going hard on it. But I never got into PvP in those games. Easy follow. Thank you, Dad Life. Appreciate it. I told Rev, one of these days, Warlord Games, the company that makes Conflict, we will be famous. They will know us. And they might even make custom miniatures out of us for Conflict. They'll make little custom miniatures. I'll be the US. Rev can be the Russians. Or the Soviets. I'm just slowly upping the stakes. At first I said they'll fly us to Britain. Now I'm saying that they're going to be making miniatures out of us, Eric. You hear that? If you will it into existence, we will get custom miniatures with our faces on it. Where the hell is my yellow? Sorry, Chad. I'm looking for this fluorescent yellow Steve Farrar fiber. It's got to be in here. I know I literally was just tying with it. Alright, we're going to use chartreuse. I don't think I used it all tying those teasers over the weekend, but, you know. Who knows? We'll just use a deeper, darker chartreuse. Well, I'm a PvP guy through and through, so I like PvPing, but yeah, the PvE is great in it as well. Dude, you're Tarkov 1.0ing right now. I can't. The way I describe Tarkov, and for anyone that doesn't play video games, I'm sorry that you have to listen to all this. We're going to take some slinky fiber, and we're essentially just going to recreate the fly that we just tied it before, but I'm going to try and tie it even sparser, because I feel like I still tied a little too much material on that one. I'm sure it's going to swim fine, but Tarkov, dude, I've been through my honeymoon phase, because I played it back in 2018, I think is when I got it. And I waited a year and then played it hardcore for like 1 or 2 years, like every day. But I've been through the honeymoon phase. I got married, right? Fell in love. And then I'm already in the phase where I've been out of I've had a divorce for about 2 years now, and I couldn't be happier. I'll go back and visit it at some point, but I just can't play it like I used to. Because I had a EOD version And on the website, it said I would get every piece of DLC, and then they lied and they changed it. Classic Russian game developers. And then also, just the cheaters were so bad. I think they somewhat fixed that, apparently. Now you need like a 2 PC setup to cheat, which is way more harder barrier of entry. And those like stupid DMA cards or whatever the hell. But, yeah. I remember my buddy Frosty, who's a mod here on the channel, he was like, dude, if you played Tarkov back in if you streamed Tarkov when you started streaming and streamed it every day, you'd probably have like hundreds of viewers now. I was like, yeah, but I would have to play Tarkov every day. Think about it. I'd rather be chilling with my 5 viewers on Twitch for my fly tie-in than have to play that goddamn game every day. Jesus. Like I said, you know, fell in love with it, been there. But unfortunately, I can't play it all the time anymore. It's too much. For anyone that does know what we're talking about, it's a video game where you're like, there's a bunch of hobos in Russia, and like everyone's shooting each other trying to collect duct tape and like nuts and bolts and like guns. It was the first game of its kind that really kind of like solidified the extraction shooter genre, which is like very popular in video games nowadays, and they did such a good job, but they just kind of fumbled the bag in multiple ways. It's still an amazing game, but I have a long history with it, so. Frosty must be a popular name. It is, yeah. It's my buddy Fred. He's a mod here on the channel. You'll see him from time to time. He might even be lurking now, who knows. Yeah, I think he's playing Ark right now. Oh, people will pay for that, Jimmy. Tarkov sustained me for a year in between jobs? Hell yeah, dude. What were you streaming Tarkov? I'm telling you, dude, people make a living streaming Tarkov. When people are deep into Tarkov, they are deep. It's all you consume, breathe, and eat. That's the problem, though. Then you can't stream other stuff because people will be like, why aren't you playing Tarkov? You'd see it happen a lot to Tarkov dudes. Like, that's why I always love watching Sequisha. Or even like Smoke would stream DayZ, you know what I mean, instead of just Tarkov. But yeah, well, that's the thing. I'll always love Tarkov, dude. I remember running raids with the boys in Factory and doing this and that, and oh man, good times. Good times. But you know, I just don't have time like that to game nowadays. So Arc Raiders is great because you can hop in, you can play a couple rounds in 30 minutes and be done, or in an hour, and I can get back to editing or work. You know. I've what do you call it? What was I playing? Oh, I was playing Tekken 3. I have my Ambernick handheld device, so I play a lot of retro gaming. If I'm like stuck downstairs for an hour in between work or something. I can escape anytime I want. Yep. Sure, buddy. Sure. It's always my favorite thing. People are like, so how do you escape from Tarkov? You never do. Cuts to Nikita sitting on like a golden throne somewhere with like a lion next to him. And he's laughing like a supervillain. Alright. Keep moving forward here. Yeah, it's a good thing. You can play either now. Profile's building out nicely. Yeah, not too bad. Or are you talking about your buds? What is it? Tekken, think just came out. Tekken 7? Oh yeah, I don't know. I was playing the PlayStation version of Tekken 3. It comes loaded with ROMs, certain ROMs, but it doesn't have a lot of good stuff. But it'll have like the Tekkens. I was playing Power Stone. It has all the Dreamcast stuff. I think it plays up to really like Dreamcast and like N64, this particular device I have. Which if you guys haven't like looked into retro gaming now, like it's wild. But the handheld retro gaming devices like a Retroid Pocket or any of the Anbernics or, God, what's some of the other brand? Pow Kitty is one. There's a couple different brands, but they make some crazy retro devices. Oh, I thought that was Slim Thunder that wrote that. That was you, Black Sheep. Okay. if you're part of the Discord, you know what the hell we're talking about. Your friend's been restoring old handhelds. I have an old restored. I have the clear Game Boy. I'll show you guys here in a sec. I bought one off eBay. It was like $15, dude. It was the same exact sort of one that I had when I was a kid. And then I remembered how, as much as I love the idea of playing on an old Game Boy, the fact that you had to remember you had those stupid like USB style lights you had to stick into the Game Boy so you could play at night. I was like, oh my god, dude, I remember this doesn't have a backlit screen. This isn't a Game Boy Advanced. And the color, I'm like, dude, this sucks. You break out one of these one of these handheld devices nowadays, and you can play it. You can upscale it and res it and everything to higher definition. It's crazy. One of the issues for me is, dude, like, retro games are so expensive nowadays. My buddy handed over like a N64 and a box full of N64 games, and I was looking at it. I was like, dude, if I wanted to like recreate this collection, it would be like so much money to actually buy cartridges and everything. Yeah, Pokemon Red. I was a Pokemon Blue guy, so I bought Pokemon Blue off eBay as well. And because I don't think I kept I gave all of my Game Boy stuff to my cousin in Turkey when I was a kid. But I was always Blue, and I used Squirtle, and I'll never forget. I can vividly, will never forget it. Vividly remember going to buy a Pokemon Blue copy from Toys R Us, and then we went to Friendly's and got Friendly's, because Friendly's is a chain out here in New York and on the East Coast, where it's like a kind of like a chain family restaurant. And I remember I used to get like the Munchie Mania thing where it had like chicken strips and mozzarella sticks. But I remember sitting there and being in Vermilion Forest, sitting and like in the booth at Friendly's and like playing Pokemon for the very first time, and it blew my mind. Whenever that was, like 1998 or something, I want to say? Game Freak came out with that, right? I forget when it was. Whenever Pokemon Blue or Red came out. I don't remember. But yeah, dude. I remember I got the guide for it, too. That book. It was like the encyclopedia. Oh, yeah, dude. And that's the thing. People, like... Video games are expensive now, and I will complain when a company charges me $80 for, like, really a game that I'm only going to play once or twice anyways, like these modern AAA games that suck, like Call of Duty and all that, like, or even, I know Battlefield wasn't the worst, but I'm not buying Battlefield for, like, $80 or something. But, that's the thing, dude. Like, a copy of, like, Donkey Kong Country or something, or, like, Donkey Kong 3D on N64, whatever these games. The GoldenEye, they were, like, $80 to $100 back in the 90s. So that would mean, like, the game's, like, $100 and, like, freaking $60 or something nowadays, or more, 180 probably or something. Which is crazy to think about. They were charging, like, $80 to $100 for a video game copy back in the 90s. Yeah, well, I mean, I didn't have a Walmart locally or anything like that. We had a Caldors. I don't even know if we had Kmart back then. We might have had Kmart, but Toys R Us was the place you went and bought video games. That or a KB Toys. Like, I don't even think we had GameStop back then. And you wouldn't, I mean, you could go buy video games at Blockbuster, but, like, it wasn't like a video game store. It was like a rental place, you know? Oh, yeah, I mean, Pokemon cards are crazy nowadays. It's ridiculous, but... So my guilty pleasure in life, because I make videos on tabletop, and I make videos on fishing and fly tying. But the one thing that I don't make videos on, that is the only other hobby in life, other than music, but I don't really play guitar much nowadays, is Yu-Gi-Oh. So I play modern Yu-Gi-Oh and Genesis, which is their new format. But that's my shiz, and it's completely different than when we were kids playing Yu-Gi-Oh. But it's like the most giga-brain card game you'll ever play nowadays. There's like combos where they literally, people sell spreadsheets for decks when decks come out, which I don't buy or participate in, but people will sell spreadsheets on like the proper routes on when to play, because you're going to activate about 50 cards in a turn. It's crazy. Absolutely wild. But that's my guilty pleasure, is modern day Yu-Gi-Oh and sweating over it. I'm 34, but back in the day, Pokemon came out, and Pokemon had a TV show. It had a video game where you'd collect Pokemon and battle them, right? And it also had a card game. Yu-Gi-Oh came out, and it was a show about a card game. Everything about Yu-Gi-Oh was about the card game itself. So it was like, I remember playing Pokemon, like the card game itself, and having like a Blastoise, or having 2 starter decks with the jungle decks, and playing at like the daycare that I would go to, or like, we'd be, some lady in some neighborhood would watch like 10 different kids, and we'd, my parents would drop me off there or whatever. I forgot her name or something, but she was very nice. And some other kids had Pokemon. We'd try and play. They didn't even know how to play the game. Like, nobody even knew, right? But when Yu-Gi-Oh came out, like, it was like, you're going to buy these cards and you're going to play, is like how the whole premise was you use the cards in the card game. Like, because everyone was just buying Pokemon cards and being like, whoa, I got Blastoise or Charizard. Nobody, like, knew what the hell they were doing. Not that anyone knew what they were doing with Yu-Gi-Oh cards, but everyone in the schoolyard and stuff. And this was probably like, what? I think this was like 99 or 2000 or 2001 or something. Everyone was like playing Yu-Gi-Oh and stuff, and like on during lunch breaks and stuff, and like trading cards and battling for cards and stuff. Yeah, well, Magic was a little bit before my time. Magic came out before that, and people were playing Magic, but I went to a card shop to play Magic, and it was the meme of like going to a card shop to play Magic, where it was a bunch of like sweaty, overweight, smelly teenagers and middle-aged dudes that literally wouldn't even like give a kid the time of day. I went to a Friday night Magic, I remember, and I bought a starter deck, and there was no commander back then. It was standard, and I'm playing against these guys playing standard, and it's like that classic meme of like the Magic players, you know what I mean? And I remember they were like the meanest. It was like, I was like, I'm never going to play Magic again. That was like the worst experience I had playing cards. Because I was a tiny kid used to playing, like, we would go to Toys R Us and they would have competitions on Saturdays for Yu-Gi-Oh! And you would go play Yu-Gi-Oh! Against other kids, and you would get free packs if you won. They did the same thing for Pokemon. Hey, Black Sheep, thanks for hanging out, dude. Appreciate it. Thanks for stopping by, dude. But I remember going to a Friday night Magic at a local card shop, which is later the card shop that we ended up going to play Commander years down the road. And being like, this sucks, dude. Like, nobody would, like, help me. I didn't even know what I was doing. And they're probably like, yeah, I'm going to counterspell that. Like, I'm like, what? What does that do? But, years down the road, we ended up getting into Magic, and I love Magic. Magic's probably the best card game, except they're ruining it nowadays. I will say Magic is probably the best card game to, like, play. I hear good things about Pokemon nowadays. Also, One Piece is really good. I got into One Piece a little. Yu-Gi-Oh! Is a shit show. That being said, it's a very particular type of card game, and I actually kind of like it. It's super sweaty. But Magic has like 15 different ways to play. You can play, and everyone plays Commander, and it's fun. The only issue is they started like making SpongeBob and like all these dumb Universe Beyond stuff that I can't keep up with. They have all these sets, so like we were buying every new set. Like, yeah, let's buy a booster box and open it up, and we'll all play together. And they started releasing so much stuff, and the prices changed, and everything changed, and in the span of like us getting into Magic, and getting into it, over the course of like 2 to 3 years, we kind of like fell out of love with Magic because of how much it changed in just 2 years. So I couldn't imagine people that have been playing it for a super long time, like kind of the direction that it's been going. That being said, it's still fun, but like I went back recently. There's so many new mechanics and stuff, and all this stuff, and like all these weird sets that came out with art styles that I'm just not a fan of, and this and that. I'm like, I don't know, dude. What I like about Magic is, that's the thing. I went to that card shop and those sweaty Magic players were mean to me, but the Magic cards back then looked sick. I remember opening it up and seeing like this troll looking thing, and I was like, whoa. Like, that's the Magic I like. The fantasy, sort of high fantasy art and, goblins and dragons. I'm not like a super fan of like the modern day stuff they've done with it. It's cool. It's definitely cool. But I was talking about this with somebody last night. I'll never have to buy another Magic card again, and I can play Magic for the rest of my life, Commander, because I have 30 Commander decks, and I feel like I can never buy another Magic card again, and I'll be fine. I can just play Magic whenever I want. Hey, Brew, you're just stopping in? Well, I hope you have a great weekend, brother. Appreciate you stopping by. And I hope you had a good week and everything. My stepmom, when I was at school, went in my room, took my binder of Magic cards and threw them away, literally. Oh my God, that's ridiculous. Yeah, the dude I was bunker fishing with, his brother has like freaking like reserve, has cards from the reserved list and from like revised and all this and beta edition, and apparently they had a bunch of cards, and something happened. Their sister like lit them on fire because she got upset and burned like Black Lotuses and all that, you know what I mean? But apparently like he has a crazy, I was talking to him at a barbecue one day, he's got a crazy, like he's got beta cards, he's got alpha cards, he's got revised, but he told me that like their sister burned a bunch of his cards back in the 90s. Got super upset with him and burned a bunch of his alpha and beta cards, which are like, we're talking about these cards are worth like, a lot of them are worth hundreds if not thousands, and some of them are worth like tens of thousands of dollars, which is crazy to think about. But I gotta start telling all my fly tying viewers, because we have a lot of folks that are older than me by a decade or two, to go up in your attic and check for your son's Magic cards or something and put them on eBay, because you might have Black Lotuses up there. Oh, it was all part of the satanic stuff? Yeah, there was a big thing about D&D and Magic being satanic rituals. There was that whole like freaking satanic scare from the churches back in the 90s and 80s and stuff like that. So ridiculous. They did the same thing with music, right? Like with rap music and metal music. And you had people like, what's the guy from Twisted Sister here on Long Island? He went to court. You had like Dave Mustaine and rappers going to court fighting against Nancy Reagan because she was trying to ban music, like hip hop and metal music, because they were saying it was making kids commit crimes. Same thing with video games, right? They're saying that video games cause kids and stuff, but really what it is like, freaking bad parenting or whatever. But believe me, I played GTA. I haven't committed any felonies, so. But yeah, I remember that, particularly with Magic. They were doing it with Magic, and they were doing it with D&D. I think D&D first, and then because obviously Magic was after, but I remember seeing something about Magic and them talking about how it was Satan worship and all that. I mean, if you look at the cards, I don't blame them. But the Black Lotus, how can you rip a Black Lotus? You know what I mean? That's not satanic looking. Some of them look nice. There was angels. Is D. Snyder the guy who created Magic? Is that who you're talking about? Or who's that? I always get mixed up. Oh, D. Snyder's the guy from Twisted Sister. He did not create Magic. He was the lead singer of Twisted Sister, and he lives on Long Island, or is from Long Island. Yes. Thank you. That's who it is. I was like, is that the guy who created Magic? No, definitely not. It's D. Schneider. And he likes riding motorcycles. Oh, man. See, yeah, before trading card, or before playing, like, TCG, trading card games, it was trading cards. Baseball cards. When I was a kid, even, I remember we used to go buy a lot of baseball cards in the 90s and basketball, because, of course, Michael Jordan was, like, is the GOAT, the greatest of all time. And I remember, like, you know, particularly trying to buy basketball cards. Not even, like, I don't even know why. But when you're a kid and you like basketball and, like, Michael Jordan's in the Bulls in the 90s and stuff, like, I don't know why. You just, like, why do we even buy the cards? I don't know. I was just like, oh, my God, I got to buy these. I don't think in my mind as a kid I was thinking about value either, right? Like, whoa, this is going to be expensive. It's like, whoa, I want a Michael Jordan card. It's interesting how that works. But, yeah, you had a Mickey Mantle, huh? That's kind of like the Holy Grail sort of card, right? Or like a Babe Ruth or something. But it's all like, you know, it's very funny too. I have like people that, because I play Yu-Gi-Oh! My buddy's like, yo, I should have you take a look at my old Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards and see if they're worth any money. I'm going to be like, yeah, probably not. Unless it's like perfect condition and like the first edition or the first printing of it, you know, or this or that or whatever. It's always tricky, right? I actually have a bunch of vintage baseball cards from, like, I think the 40s or 50s or something like that, that I found that were, like, that I bought way back in the day, but it's nothing special, I don't think. But I do have we should take a look at them on stream one day. They're, like, vintage baseball cards. Really, really, really old. I found them in my basement not long ago. So you can see essentially the same sort of fly, just, God, the white balance is struggling with the colors on this one. But just building up that sort of profile, you know what I mean? Nice and simple. Nothing crazy. I'll go chuck this in the surf. This thing is, without the lead wire, I mean, it's a pretty heavy hook. It'll definitely be more buoyant because of the amount of slinky fiber and stuff up top. But that's not the worst. I don't want the fly to drag through the sand and then completely screw up the hook point, so... No, when I was a kid, I only thought about the value gains of the cards, but we were different then. I didn't even think about that stuff, I think. Otherwise, I would never have traded... I remember it, too. I traded I must have. Unless it was a Venusaur. I can't remember if it was a, like, first edition Venusaur or a first edition Charizard, which, by the way, those are worth thousands of dollars, the Charizard. But I traded it for a roughed up, beat up Blastoise, folded in half Blastoise, crinkled everything, the foil, and guess what? I didn't care because it was a freaking Blastoise, and that was Pokemon Blue, baby. And I had a Blastoise that I could play with my Squirtle and my Wartortle cards. But I remember trading, I'm pretty certain it was like a mint condition Venusaur I opened for a like completely like chewed Blastoise. But look, this is it right here. This was like 20, 30 bucks on eBay like 10 years ago. And it was a restored Game Boy Color. It was super cheap, I remember. Nowadays, I think they're more expensive. And also, hey, there's my man, Blastoise. There's my boy. So it's pretty sick. Nowadays, you can buy these, or you can buy them off eBay, where they will mod them with an ISP screen, which is like a modern day screen. They'll do all sorts of really sick stuff to these with backlit screens, speakers. They'll put like, you can also like have them modded to where there's like a Pi computer system in here, so you can emulate stuff. You know, there's like all sorts of cool stuff. But this is just a basic Game Boy Color that was restored. And this is the classic clear purple cased one that I vividly remember getting at some point. I don't think this was the first one. I think the first Game Boy Color I got was like green or red or yellow or something. Remember they had those solid color ones? But, I mean, dude, these freaking things are sick, man. Only problem is You can only play it when it's well lit. It's the downside. All right, chat. Well, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's fly tying and bumbling rambles of a crazy person. Hopefully you enjoyed us reminiscing not only about fly tying, but about video games and Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! And baseball cards and all that. I used to play baseball. Ken Camentini's son? See, that's the thing. I'm not super big on baseball. The only time I was ever big on baseball was when the Yankees and the Mets, because I'm a New Yorker. Growing up in elementary school, every kid was either a Yankee or a Mets fan. I was a Mets fan because there was that one guy that I think was doing steroids that was the catcher. I forgot the guy's name. Mike Piazza, I think was his name. Or something like that. And he had a mustache, cool looking mustache, and he could freaking knock a home run. But I liked them because they were like Long Island. The Mets were, I think, more Long Island, right? Because the Yankees were Brooklyn, and I think the Mets were like in Queens or something. I forget where they were. But all the kids were either Yankee fans or Mets fans. I was a Mets fan. And that was back in like Derek Jeter, Mike Piazza days. I'm pretty certain that was the guy. Was it Mike Piazza for any baseball fans? Do you remember the Mets catcher? New York Mets catcher? I'm pretty certain it was Mike Piazza is the guy's name. Anyways, that's the only baseball time that I remember. We used to go as like Boy Scouts to like the games and stuff. But yes, I am correct. All right. See, I remember something. Remember something, chat. All that high school Yannabis didn't completely make me brain dead. But anyways, thank you so much, chat. Thank you so much for watching. I'm going to relax. I'm going to watch some Djibouti show playing Arc Raiders. I'm going to clean up and get my desk organized and all that, and probably work on some Mike Rolls Dice. I got to get this one video edited. That being said, we're going to have a video probably come out Sunday around 12 on this channel. We're going to be doing some fly tying. We'll probably end up doing a video on this sort of hybrid style fly with a lead keel and tying like a bunker fly with bucktails and synthetics. And then I have some other flies as well and all that. But catch you on the flip side. All right, yeah, sounds good, Jimmy. Yeah, thank you so much, everyone, for watching. Jimmy, thank you. Jin, we had Doc, we had Brew, Black Sheep, Dad Life. I know we had Rev in here. We had all sorts of people. So thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it and stopping by. I hope you folks have an awesome weekend if I don't see you. And obviously, we have a new video coming out this weekend. If not, then I'll see you guys on... we will, but till then, I'll see you guys on Friday. So, for another Fly Time stream. All right, chat. Anyways, you have a good week, a good weekend, and stay safe out there. And Paul, thank you so much for watching. Make sure you send me an email, all right? So I'll get you those flies shipped out at some point. So, anyways, chat, you have a nice weekend. We'll see you guys. Stay safe out there, and later.